In this episode, and please note I'm parked for safety reasons, let's talk about momentum. So, momentum is one of those things when it comes to marketing that is very, very difficult to obtain and is extremely difficult to keep. When we talk about momentum, we're talking about the ability for us to garner attention and hold attention of people. So, one of the things that I learned in public relations when I was working in that industry was that when you get any kind of attention, you have to ladder up on it, leverage it in some ways. So if you get a placement in a relatively small publication, maybe somebody's blog, somebody's podcast, you then use that to pitch to the next tier of coverage. Maybe it's a trade publication or an industry publication. And then as you get more and more attention to that, you can lever up to regional publications, maybe national publications or international publications. It's very difficult to do that because the story has to be one that is newsworthy enough that it would be worth providing to these publications. And at least in the context of PR, an awful lot of public relations is paid, not the PR people, but the journalists, the publications themselves are paid on things like page views and watches because they're all ad-driven businesses. So your story, your pitch, your idea has to be something that's going to generate traffic that will pay the bills. When something takes off, when you get a lot of eyeballs on something, you will get more and more coverage because everybody wants a piece of that pie. Everybody wants the idea in their publications so that they can get traffic as well. They can earn traffic, particularly from new sources. Like if you are writing about, say, marketing automation normally, and a new thing on ChatGPT comes out, well, of course, you want that in your publication to attract audiences that are interested in ChatGPT, but not necessarily marketing automation. You try and leverage that. Here's the challenge. News cycles are very, very short and getting shorter as we get to more and more disposable content. This is something I heard on an industry podcast. One content creator was saying, TikTok really introduced the concept of disposable content. You watch the video, you like it, you chat about it for like 2 seconds, and it's gone, and you're gone to the next thing. And we've known that's been the case in marketing for a really long time. But it's more prevalent now. So something that captures people's imagination and holds it for any amount of time, people want in on that because it's like, leaping from story to story, trying to catch attention as you can, like a bad video game character. The challenge is, if you're more than just a flash in the pan, you've got to do something with that momentum and try to hold on to as much of it as you can. This is where the concept of the repeatable, reliable reach audience comes in. This is why things like email marketing and text messaging marketing are so important. Discord communities, Slack communities, any place where you can capture an audience and so that you have reliable reach is something you desperately need to do as soon as possible. The moment you start getting attention, you roll out an email newsletter, you roll out a Discord community, you roll out something where people can sign up and be a part of that community, and you can hold their attention for just a little bit longer, especially once the initial news story dies down. However big the story is, you've got to capture that audience because in public media, public social media, public mainstream media, it's like squirrels on meth, right? A new story pops up, a new TikTok video pops up, and boom, you're off the front page, you're gone, and no one remembers you. If you have captured that audience when it's coming in, then you can reach them again, right? You can say, hey, here's something new. Here's something that's of more value. If you liked the initial story, here's an add-on. Here's a new benefit. One of the biggest flaws I have seen in public relations is people expecting that an audience is loyal on a single piece of attention, right? An audience is interested in a single piece of attention, a single news story, a single social media trend. They're interested. They're not loyal. They only become loyal once you provide them benefit over and over again. And like in television and books and other forms of entertainment, it's very difficult to one-up yourself, right? You do this thing and it gets great coverage, so you do something even more outlandish. And at some point, either you can't do that anymore or you implode or explode, sometimes very spectacularly. You see in music and in movies and stuff that television seasons, like if you I watched CW's The Flash, and that series just got getting more and more outlandish. They use up a lot of their best ideas early on to capture that audience, and then they're like, we don't have any really interesting, compelling stories to tell. World of Warcraft, same thing. The second expansion, The Wrath of the Lich King, is widely regarded as the best expansion because it was the apex villain, and every expansion since then has been kind of like, like all these weird, crazy storylines, trying to come up with bigger and bigger bad guys, and at some point you run out, right? At some point you have to restart and figure out where to go. So the solution for momentum is the reliable reach audience and capturing it early on, right? Because if there's benefit that you're providing in the form of a newsletter, in the form of a text messaging update, in the form of weekly or monthly chats in Discord, or contests or giveaways, you can keep that audience's attention and eventually create loyalty because they continue to get good value from you all the time. Right? It doesn't have to be a smash hit, right? Every newsletter issue you publish, every post you put in the announcements channel in Discord, they're not all going to be hits, but they all have to be valuable enough that people say, yeah, I'll stick around another week. Right? You are constantly re-earning people's loyalty. If you don't have that capture mechanism in place, then the moment your story is out of the news, you're done. Right? It's game over. At that point, there is not much you can do except find a way to make news again and repeat that process. The laddering up very, very slowly. So if you want to make use of the attention when you get it, have a capture mechanism in place before you start. My friend Laura Gastrotti calls this wonder hell, planning for wild success, overwhelming success, and it's a great way to think about it. Right? What does it look like if you succeed beyond your expectations? Do you have mechanisms in place that will scale to let you capture your success while you have it? Because everything is transient, everything is fleeting, and once it's gone, it's very, very difficult to get it back. Think about this. Apple computers had basically like 4 hit products in 30 years, right? The Apple II, the Macintosh, the iPhone, and the iPad to a lesser degree. And yes, they've got revs and versions of these products and stuff, but when you watch their product announcements and things, they're not all newsworthy. A lot of them are just refinements. The Apple Watch, which arguably is a pretty good success story. So 5 products in 30 years, right? 5 big hits in 30 years. If $1 trillion company can manage that, what does that mean for us, the people who are not working at $1 trillion companies? It means that whenever we get any scrap of attention, we've got to be ready to take it on and it's a terrible word, but to harvest it as much as we can. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. Talk to you next time.
If you like this video, go ahead and hit that subscribe button.